President Rodrigo Duterte fueling concerns over his health again. As in previous speeches and even in interviews, Mr. Duterte talked about ailments he's had to endure for years. He did that before the Alumni Association of the Philippine Military Academy last night. But here's what's different about this particular speech. The president, for the first time, mentioned the word cancer. He also talked about visiting the hospital and going through tests. Here's the president in his own words.
I had got my, the other, but 3 weeks ago, I had my endoscopy and colonoscopy. Then I was about to have a sana ngayong cabinet meeting yesterday. But yung reading ng aking somebody advised my doctor just also to repeat and get some samples there, both dito uli. So I stayed there for 1 hour sa Cardinal Santos. So hindi ko po masabi kung meron ba talaga akong tama o wala, but I have this Barrett and it has been bothering me ever since, dahil nga sa inom rin. Whether are people predisposed to Barrett kasi yung hindi nagsasira yung mo pagka alam mo pag kahiga ka, when you lie down there's that cap na nagsisira rin, so the acid of the stomach does not reach the esophagus. Corrosive yan This one is built with stand grinding and digesting, but ito dito hindi. So it got worse. I don't know where I'm now physically, but I have to wait for that. But I would tell you that if it's cancer, it's cancer, and if it's third stage, no more treatment. I will not prolong my agony in this office or anywhere.
Let's get more perspective on this story. Joining me now, our senior correspondent, Ina Andalong, who's been covering President Duterte since he won, since the campaign.
Since the campaign.
Ina, first time the president mentioned the big word cancer, so what really is it?
Well, as we know, of course, this isn't the first time that the president's health has made headlines. But as you mentioned, it is what makes this different is that this is the first time that he used the word cancer. And when you hear the word cancer, it's inevitable that people will start really asking questions. Why? Does he think he has cancer? So the level of concern since he said that yesterday is different. And we saw this especially with his spokesman, Secretary Harry Roque. In the past, he would always insist that the president is fit and healthy, itigil yun na yung kakatanong. In fact, just yesterday, he said sawa na nga daw siya sa napapagod na siya sa kakasagot at pagdedepensa that the president is not sick. But then things changed after President Duterte admitted that he got a new round of tests in Cardinal Santos the other day, and that again he used the word cancer. And of course, Secretary Roque, for the first time, when asked if this is something serious, kung dati sinasabi niya na there's nothing serious to worry about regarding the president's health, for the first time, he said, right now, we don't know. Because again, the results of the tests are still pending. We're still waiting for that. But he did give an explanation on why the president may have used the word cancer. And apparently, it's because in the last endoscopy that the president had a few weeks ago, there was a growth. That's the term he used, a growth. We asked if it was tumor, a cyst. He said he's not sure, basta it's a growth. And this is the reason why the president again had a new set of tests the other day. We do have a soundbite of the secretary talking about that earlier.
So right now, sir, it's not considered a serious illness?
Right now, we don't know because he went for a diagnostic exam. Endoscopy was recommended from his own words in the General Command Conference because they wanted just to be sure that there was a growth and that they wanted to know more about the growth.
So yun na nga, notable na ang sinasabi niya, cancer and then growth, and then Roque had to explain it. Pero did Secretary Roque say anything about when we can expect the results of the tests of the presidents? And if it's a serious illness, will you really know what it is?
Well, first, it was not talked about, when the results will come out, but we could note that the first round of tests happened about 3 weeks ago, and we only heard about this second round again yesterday. How serious it is, again, as Secretary Roque said, for the first time, we don't know, so we're gonna wait for that. But he did say that considering na si Pangulo mismo ang nagsabi, especially after they even denied, si Secretary Roque, that the president even went to the hospital initially because apparently he really didn't know. Pero the fact that the president said this in public yesterday, sabi niya, we should expect that he will also be transparent about it, especially if it is something serious, because that is mandated in the Constitution for the president to inform the public if he has a serious condition. And Secretary Roque was saying pa nga earlier, kung tutusin, itong pagkakaroon ng tests, it's not even something that the president, he says, the president is obliged to tell the public yet kasi wala pa namang serious diagnosis, if anything. But again, he said, if you listen to the president, he's very transparent about what he has, and we can be assured, he says, that we will be informed if there's something serious that the president is facing.
Pero in the past, kasi the president is 71, 72, 73 years old. Sinasabi niya na naman na matanda na ako, may sakit na ako, several illnesses, and he even admitted to taking some really powerful drugs. Ano nga ulit yung sinasabi niya mga sakit niya dati?
Before, he admitted to having 4 illnesses. Yan. There's Barrett's esophagus, yun yung nabanggit niya kanina sa kanyang soundbite. There's I wrote it. Bronchitis, slip disc from a motorcycle accident he had a few years back, and also Berger's disease. In the past, kapag napag-uusapan yung health niya, he would always say that these are all I have. They're not deadly, they're not fatal. But now again, people are questioning if talagang okay ba siya, because he himself used the word cancer, which is, as we know, a very serious condition.
May isa pa, Ina, kasi people have been noticing, nakikita ko rin to even sa social media, na parang the president daw seems to have more dark spots daw on the face. Ikaw, you've been following him for a long time. Is there anything unusual or mas prominent ba? Sabi baka daw sign niya ng serious illness eh.
Well, I'm not gonna deny that the reporters following the president, we would really make an effort every time since that observation came out to check parang ano ba, nangingitim nga ba? And I have to say that there are days when it's notable that a portion of his face is dark. But I have to say, certain days parang biglang naging okay. It's not as dark. And I can only assume because before, I do remember him talking about a pain that he feels on this part of his face. That's the reason why he's quite popular for that pose na nakaganyan. And before, he did admit na kasi may pinipindot siya ditong pain. Initially, I thought maybe it could be that, the darkness there. But of course, the president himself addressed this matter fairly recently. And he said, nangingitim lang daw yan because he's exposed to the sun. Sunburn or ano ba, parang sabi niya masyado lang daw siya naiinitan. But of course, this observation is not helping address or allay people's concerns that he may be, it may be linked to any serious illness that he may have.
Okay, Ina, aside from his health, the president also mentioned Vice President Leni Robredo in his speech yesterday. Here's what he said.
Pero I will not resign to give ito. Sa totoo lang, sir, even her in public statements, I do not mean to offend the lady. She's very good. She's gentle. Pero mahina talaga si Leni. Walang may sitwasyon ko na decide wala mali ang medyo mahina ang hindi mahina yung utak ko masan ng bar. Mahina sa diskarte.
Now, Vice President Robredo hits back. In a statement, she says no one wants the president to get sick, but she asserts illness should not be a reason for him to belittle her capabilities. Robredo adds, quote, umaksyon tayo sa problema ng bayan kesa puro sisi ang binabato sa dating administrasyon, sa kanyang mga kritiko at sa akin, unquote. Ina, this is not the first time that the president hit back at Vice President Robredo.
You're right. He's always been open about what he thinks is yung qualifications of Vice President Leni Robredo. In fact, he even mentioned other names who he says are he would rather have as vice presidents. And then, of course, former Senator Bongbong Marcos. But again, is it really up to him to determine who could succeed him, if anything, if he steps down or what? Because we have to remember that the Constitution mandates that the sitting president is the only one who should be able to succeed the president if something happens to him.
Okay, thank you, Ina Andalong, CNN Philippines senior correspondent, for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Ru.